Have you ever felt that life placed you in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong people, facing the wrong challenges? You look around and wonder, why now? Why me? But what if the answer is far more mysterious and far more merciful than you think? In Buddhist wisdom, nothing happens by accident. Every twist, every delay, every loss and encounter is part of a tapestry so vast that the human mind cannot grasp its design. The place you stand right now, even if it feels uncertain, lonely, or painfully still, is not a mistake. It's a field chosen precisely for your awakening. When we stop fighting the moment, the meaning begins to unfold, because maybe the detour you curse was the only path that could teach you patience. Maybe the silence you fear is where your strength is born. Maybe this exact season, with all its confusion, is where the seed of your next self is quietly breaking open. In this reflection, we'll explore how life puts you exactly where you need to be, not to punish, but to prepare, not to confine, but to reveal. You'll discover the Buddhist art of trusting the process, learning to see every experience as part of your path, even the ones that hurt. So take a breath, let the noise soften, and listen closely. Because what's happening to you right now might be the very thing your soul has been waiting for all along. Everything in this life is connected, seen and unseen, known and forgotten. When we begin to sense this interdependence, something inside us softens. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start wondering, "What is this trying to teach me?" In Buddhist philosophy, karma is often misunderstood. Many think of it as divine punishment or cosmic revenge, but that is not the truth the Buddha pointed to. Karma is not a judge handing out sentences. It is a law of nature, quiet and exact. Every thought, word, and action leaves a trace, not as moral punishment, but as resonance. The energy we release continues to move through the web of existence and eventually returns to its source, like an echo in the mountains. Imagine that your life is a notebook, and each day you write one new line. Some lines are written with care, gratitude, compassion, honesty. Others are scribbled in haste, anger, fear, impatience. Over time, those lines shape the story you live in. The pages cannot be erased, but they can be rewritten with new intention. And here lies the beauty of karma. The pen is always in your hand. Every moment is a chance to begin again. Every breath carries the potential to plant a different seed. What you choose to think right now, what you choose to say, what you choose to do, these are not small things. They ripple outward, touching lives you may never meet, and eventually they return to you as the atmosphere you live in. Nothing in life is random. The people you encounter, the challenges that appear, the opportunities that open or close, all of them are the unfolding of causes and conditions that have been forming for a long time. Some of these causes were planted by you, others by those who came before you. Together they weave the fabric of this present moment. To see this clearly is to move beyond blame of yourself or others. It is to realize that we are all participants in a vast dance of interdependence. Your joy is linked to another's kindness. Your pain may be the shadow of someone's ignorance, yet even that pain can become a teacher when you meet it with awareness. This is why Buddhism invites us not to fear karma, but to understand it. When you know that everything you do matters, you start walking more gently through the world. You begin to water the seeds you truly wish to grow: patience, generosity, clarity, love. And the more you practice, the more life mirrors these qualities back to you. Look around. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is separate. The smile of a stranger, the silence of a loss, the effort of a single kind act, all are threads in the same tapestry. When you live with this awareness, karma is no longer a burden but a blessing. It reminds you that you are both the author and the reader of your own story, and that every page, even the ones stained with regret, can become a lesson in compassion. So, when you wake tomorrow, pause for a moment before the day begins. Feel the weight of the pen in your hand. Ask yourself, what kind of line will I write today? Because even the smallest word, the softest gesture, may become the sentence that changes the story of your life. We've seen how every action ripples through the web of causes and conditions, shaping what unfolds next. But even when we understand this truth, there are moments in life that shake us to the core, moments when the weight of suffering feels too heavy to carry. It is in those moments that the Buddha's teaching on dukkha, the reality of suffering, becomes not a theory, but a mirror reflecting the heart of our experience. Suffering is not a flaw in existence. It is woven into the human condition, the ache of loss, the sting of disappointment, the fear of change, the longing for permanence in a world that is always moving. Buddhism does not deny this pain. It meets it with understanding, because within that pain lies the seed of awakening. Let me tell you a story. There was once a woman who had built her entire life around success, a career she was proud of, a home that gleamed with effort, a future mapped out with precision. She believed happiness would arrive once everything was finally in place. But one day, the foundation she had built began to crumble. The company she worked for collapsed. Friends she thought were loyal drifted away. The life she had built disappeared like sand in the tide. At first, she fought it, grasping, blaming, trying to rebuild the same walls. But the more she resisted, the more exhausted she became. Until one morning, sitting in silence, she noticed something she had never paid attention to before: the sound of the wind moving through the trees outside her small window. It was simple, ordinary, and yet it filled her with a peace she hadn't known in years. In that stillness, she realized that losing everything had not destroyed her. It had stripped away what was false. Beneath all the noise and striving, there was a quiet place untouched by circumstance, a space of clarity and calm. The pain had not come to punish her, it had come to awaken her. The Buddha compared suffering to a fire that burns away illusion. It is fierce, yes, but also cleansing. Without the fire, we remain asleep in comfort and distraction. It is only when something cracks that the light can enter. Pain shows us where we cling, where we fear, where we mistake the temporary for the eternal. When we see that clearly, suffering transforms from an enemy into a wise companion, one that points us back to what truly matters. This doesn't mean we should seek pain, nor glorify it. It means that when it arrives, as it inevitably does, we can meet it differently. Instead of asking, "Why me?" we can whisper, "What is this teaching me?" In that moment of awareness, the heart opens. The wound becomes a doorway. Every heartbreak, every failure, every loss carries within it a subtle invitation. Wake up. Wake up to impermanence. Wake up to gratitude. Wake up to the truth that joy was never outside of you. It was waiting beneath the layers of expectation and fear. When we meet our suffering with presence, it begins to soften. When we listen to it instead of running from it, it begins to speak. And what it whispers is simple, timeless, and compassionate. You are learning how to be free. After walking through the lessons hidden in pain, we begin to sense a quiet truth. Peace is not found by controlling life. but by releasing our grip on it. This is where the practice of acceptance begins, the art of not resisting. Most of us spend years trying to make life fit the shape of our expectations. We want people to change, circumstances to bend, time to move faster or slower depending on our desires. Yet the more we fight reality, the more entangled we become in frustration and fear. It is like trying to stop the rain with your hands. The tighter you clench, the wetter you get. In Buddhist wisdom, resistance is the subtle root of suffering. It arises when we demand that things be different from what they are. The mind says, "This shouldn't be happening," or "I can't stand this." And in that inner struggle, we lose our strength. But what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. Acceptance is not resignation. It is clarity. It doesn't mean we give up, but that we stop wasting energy fighting the inevitable. It is standing under the rain, feeling every drop, and realizing that no storm lasts forever. The Buddha often used the image of a river to describe life. When we fight against the current, we exhaust ourselves. The water feels violent, cold, and merciless. But when we learn to float, the same current carries us gently downstream. The river hasn't changed, only our relationship with it has. This is the art of flow, to move with life rather than against it, to trust that every wave, even the turbulent ones, knows its direction, to understand that surrender is not weakness, but wisdom, the wisdom of seeing that life is bigger than our plans. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a river. The water rushes before you, unpredictable and alive. You could fight it, trying to force your way across, or you could step in softly, feeling the rhythm of its movement, letting it guide you toward the other shore. The moment you stop struggling, the current begins to support you. This is what mindfulness teaches us, to discern what can be changed and what must be released. When the mind is quiet, it sees clearly. Some things are within our power and some are not. Our task is to act wisely with what we can influence and to bow gracefully before what we cannot. Acceptance does not mean you approve of everything that happens. It means you choose to meet reality without hatred in your heart. From that stillness, right action becomes possible, calm, grounded, compassionate. When you stop fighting what is, you free yourself to respond from wisdom rather than fear. The paradox is beautiful. When you no longer resist the flow, life begins to move in your favor. Opportunities appear where you once saw obstacles. Peace arises where there used to be tension. And the world, instead of being something to conquer, becomes something to move with, breath by breath, moment by moment, like a leaf carried gracefully down the stream. So, when the next storm comes, remember, you cannot stop the rain, but you can stop fighting it. Stand beneath the sky, feel the drops, and let them teach you how to fall and how to rise in perfect rhythm with life. When we finally stop resisting life, another truth slowly reveals itself. Much of our suffering doesn't come from what's happening, it comes from what we refuse to let go of. This is where the next lesson unfolds: detachment, the art of laying down the weight. Imagine a traveler walking through the desert, carrying a heavy backpack. Inside are not only the things he needs, but also the stones he's gathered along the way. Stones of fear, regret, pride, and old memories he couldn't release. At first, the load feels manageable, but with each mile, it grows heavier. The sun beats down, his breath shortens, and every step becomes a struggle. Yet still, he tells himself, "These are mine. I can't leave them behind." One evening, exhausted, He meets an old monk sitting beneath a lone tree. The monk looks at him and smiles gently. "Why are you suffering under that weight?" he asks. The traveler sighs. "I need these stones. They are my story, my success, my proof that I've lived." The monk nods and replies, "Perhaps, but if you never put them down, you'll never have the strength to keep walking." That night, under the quiet of the stars, the traveler opens his backpack. One by one, he removes the stones. Each one represents something he thought he couldn't live without the approval of others, the resentment he carried, the pride he mistook for strength. As the pile grows, something shifts within him. The burden lightens. His steps, once heavy, begin to feel effortless. This is detachment, not indifference, not withdrawal from life, but the gentle art of releasing what no longer serves the heart. It's not about loving less. It's about loving without chains. It's not about abandoning the world. It's about walking through it freely, without being possessed by what you hold. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that everything is impermanent. People, moments, possessions, even the self we think we are. Trying to make anything last forever is like holding water in your hands. The tighter you grasp, the faster it slips away. Detachment is learning to open your palms and let life flow through them, to appreciate deeply, yet hold lightly. When you practice detachment, you don't lose, you return. You return to your natural state of clarity, to the spaciousness that was always there beneath the clutter of attachment. You rediscover who you are without the need to prove, defend, or own anything. As the Buddha taught, suffering begins where attachment begins. When you release, peace naturally enters. You no longer define yourself by what you possess or who you please. You no longer confuse control with love. You simply exist, aware, present, and free. In that space of freedom, authenticity blooms. You start to see beauty in simplicity, the sound of your breath, the touch of wind, the kindness in a stranger's eyes. These are not possessions, they are moments, alive and fleeting, and that is what makes them sacred. The traveler in the story eventually continues his journey, this time with an empty bag and a lighter heart. He doesn't walk away from life, he walks with it unburdened, awake, grateful. So maybe it's time to look inside your own backpack. What stones are you still carrying? Fear? Old stories? The need to be right, to be loved, to be remembered? You don't have to throw them away all at once, just notice them. And when you're ready, set one down. Because each time you let go, you're not losing anything. You're coming home to the peace that has been waiting for you all along. When we begin to lay down our burdens, something beautiful starts to happen. The noise inside quiets. The future loosens its grip. The past begins to fade like mist. And what remains radiant and alive is this moment. This is where mindfulness begins, the art of truly being here. There's an old story of a young student who went to his master and said, "Teacher, I feel like my life is passing too fast. Each day blurs into the next, and I can't seem to slow it down." The master smiled and handed him a bowl filled to the brim with water. "Walk through the village," he said, "but be careful, do not spill a single drop." The student did as he was told. He walked slowly, eyes fixed on the trembling surface of the bowl. He returned without spilling any water, proud and relieved. The master asked softly, "Tell me, did you see the people in the market? Did you hear the laughter of the children? Did you smell the bread baking?" The student shook his head. The master nodded. "You were so focused on not losing a single drop that you missed the beauty of the whole world around you. That," he said, is how most people live. Mindfulness isn't a narrow focus. It's not about controlling your thoughts or freezing your attention on one tiny point. It's about opening your senses to the vastness of now, to the wholeness of this living moment. To be mindful is to walk with eyes unclouded, to listen without preparing your reply, to breathe and actually feel your breath moving in and out of your body. In a distracted world, our attention has become scattered, pulled between screens, memories, and fears of what's next. We are surrounded by miracles, yet rarely present enough to see them. The sunrise that warms your window, the sound of rain against the leaves, the steady rhythm of your own heartbeat. None of these things are ordinary. They are silent invitations, reminders that life is happening right now, not somewhere else. The world isn't short of miracles. It's short of people who are present to witness them. Mindfulness is that return, the slow, humble walk back to awareness. It asks nothing grand of you, only that you pause and look, that you breathe, that you remember you are alive. Take a moment, right now. Feel the air enter your lungs, cool and gentle. Listen to whatever sound is near, even if it's just silence. Notice the sensations in your hands, the contact of your feet with the ground. This is not something to achieve, it's something to remember. The Buddha called mindfulness the path to freedom because it dissolves the illusion that life is elsewhere. It brings you home to the only place you ever truly live. This breath, this step, this heartbeat. When you train the mind to rest in the present, time itself seems to soften. The rush slows, the heart unclenches, and you begin to see what has always been here, a world quietly offering its beauty to anyone willing to stop and look. So breathe, listen, feel, right here, right now. Just this is where life is waiting for you. When you learn to return to the present moment, something subtle begins to change. The urge to control softens. The anxiety of what's next begins to lose its power. You start to realize that maybe you don't have to figure everything out, that perhaps life is already carrying you exactly where you need to go. This is the essence of trusting the process, walking your path without needing to see the entire map. In Buddhism, this trust arises from understanding impermanence. Everything changes. Seasons shift. People grow apart. Circumstances evolve. Nothing is fixed, and that is precisely what makes life possible. If everything were permanent, there would be no movement, no renewal, no growth. The same impermanence that takes things away is the force that brings new things into being. But the human mind longs for control. It wants guarantees, answers, clear outcomes. We want to know when the waiting will end, when the pain will ease, when the path will make sense. Yet the Buddha taught that clinging to certainty only multiplies suffering. The more we demand to know, the less we are able to listen. Life, in truth, is like a sacred text revealed one page at a time. You cannot skip ahead. You cannot read the ending before living the middle. Each chapter opens only when you are ready to understand it. Some pages are joyous, others are written in tears. But all of them belong to the same book, the story of your becoming. When you trust the process, you stop trying to force the next chapter. You focus instead on doing your part with clarity and compassion, allowing the rest to unfold in its own rhythm. The Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This doesn't mean giving up direction. It means acting wisely now and letting go of what lies beyond your reach. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He tends to the soil, waters with care, removes the weeds. But he cannot command the sun to shine or the rain to fall. He does his part, and then he trusts nature to do the rest. Life asks the same of you. Do what you can with sincerity and release what you cannot control. Trusting the process doesn't mean everything will be easy. There will be detours, delays, even losses, but each one carries a hidden purpose. Sometimes the wrong door closes only to protect you from a path that wasn't meant for you. Sometimes a setback is not punishment, but preparation. Even the detours are part of the direction. When you look back, you'll see how every twist led you here, how every ending became the soil for a new beginning. The mind may call it coincidence, but the heart recognizes it as wisdom. So, if you find yourself standing in uncertainty, remember, you don't need to know the whole path. You only need to take the next step with awareness and faith. Breathe, trust, keep walking, because the same force that turns a seed into a tree, that moves the tides and births the dawn, is also guiding your journey patiently, perfectly, one page at a time. When we begin to trust the unfolding of life, a quiet question naturally rises: if I don't have to control everything, then how should I live? This question leads us to the heart of the Buddhist path to Dharma, the art of living in harmony with truth and compassion. Dharma doesn't ask you to withdraw from the world. It invites you to meet it with awareness, to align your thoughts, words, and actions with what is real and kind. Many people think purpose must be something grand, a mission that changes the world, a vision that others will remember. But in Buddhist wisdom, purpose is far simpler and far deeper. It is the quiet integrity of being fully present in whatever life places before you. You live your Dharma not only through great decisions, but through the smallest gestures of the day. When you cook a meal with care, nourishing both body and gratitude. When you listen to someone without rushing to answer, letting them feel truly seen. When you tend to a loved one's pain without impatience, holding their suffering as tenderly as your own. These moments may seem ordinary, but in truth they are sacred. Living with purpose doesn't mean chasing an image of perfection. It means asking, is my mind clear? Is my heart open? Is this action rooted in compassion? If the answer is yes, then you are already living your Dharma. The Buddha taught that a single kind thought outweighs 1,000 empty rituals. The true measure of a life is not what you achieve, but how you move through the world, whether your presence leaves others lighter or heavier, calmer or more troubled. Purpose is not found at the mountaintop. It is found in the way you walk the road beneath your feet. When every gesture becomes a seed of kindness, you're already walking the path. A gentle smile to a stranger, a moment of patience with a colleague, the willingness to forgive, these are not small things. Each is a ripple in the ocean of consciousness, touching lives beyond what you can see. And yet, Dharma also includes yourself. To live with purpose is to take care of your own mind, to speak to yourself with the same compassion you offer others. When your inner dialogue becomes softer, your outer world begins to reflect it. Remember, the path of Dharma is not a distant ideal. It is this breath, this choice, this conversation. It is presence turned into service. It is love translated into motion. So ask yourself, as you move through today, can I make this next moment an expression of truth? Can I let this word, this action, this silence be an offering of peace? If you can, even for a moment, then you are already fulfilling your purpose. Because in the eyes of awakening, no act is too small and no heart too ordinary to illuminate the world. Everything that has happened, every joy, every loss, every wrong turn and gentle surprise has led you here, not by mistake, but by design. Each moment, whether you understood it or not, was preparing you for this breath, this awareness, this quiet space of understanding. No step was wasted. The laughter, the heartbreak, the detours, all of them were chapters in your awakening. Life has never been against you. It has only been teaching you, shaping you, guiding you toward yourself. So pause for a moment. Feel the weight of where you stand. This is not a waiting room. It's the destination of every lesson you've lived so far. And from here, a new path begins. Maybe today you choose to plant one small seed, a seed of gratitude for what has been, a seed of release for what no longer serves you, or a seed of mindfulness for the moments yet to come. Nurture it with kindness and trust that it will grow in its own rhythm. You don't need to know how the rest of your story unfolds. You only need to know that right now you are exactly where you need to be. Because when you begin to trust the process, life stops being a maze and becomes a path unfolding softly beneath your feet, one step at a time, just as it should. If this message brought you a moment of calm, leave the word peace in the comments, a small sign that you're blooming right where you are.